2 months ago, the former president called you out by name, said you were working to cover up a corrupt election, told people not to believe your lies. Why did you accept his invitation?
Well, if you remember what I said, is that I believe that President Trump was simply misinformed about what was happening in Wisconsin. So when my friend Reince Priebus said, why don't you take the time to actually sit down with the president, explain what you are doing in Wisconsin, and let him ask you questions and kind of have a dialogue, I thought that was a perfect opportunity for us to talk about the things that are happening in Wisconsin.
He obviously wanted to meet with you for a reason. What did he ask of you?
He really wants to make sure that we are doing everything in our power to get to the bottom of what actually happened in 2020.
In June, Donald Trump publicly pushed Voss for an audit of Wisconsin's 2020 election, an investigation which Voss announced the following day. Do you believe, as Donald Trump does, that Wisconsin's election was corrupt?
I would not use the word corrupt. I don't believe that. Now, were some of the practices in individual parts of the state bordering on that? Yeah.
We've seen what can happen on January 6th when people believe that the election was stolen. Do you believe that by meeting with the president, you're helping to perpetuate that?
No, I don't. I mean, do I believe that there were issues with the election? Definitely. I've said that from the very beginning. I believe it today.
The goal of the current election audit, Voss says, is preventing problems in future elections, not overturning the 2020 results.
This is not about overturning the election because that's not going to happen in Wisconsin.
Did you say to Donald Trump what you're saying to us now, that this investigation is not going to overturn the outcome of this election? Donald Trump did not win Wisconsin.
We went through all those discussions. We had a very sincere discussion about what happened in Wisconsin.
Now, Kent, specifically, what issues with the election is he referring to that he says border on fraud?
Well, the biggest issue that he pointed to several times was more than 200,000 absentee voters who said that they were indefinitely confined. That came during the pandemic, but it allowed those voters to request absentee ballots without providing a photo ID. Voss called that cheating the system. The Trump legal team challenged those ballots in Milwaukee and Dane counties, but a lower court and the state Supreme Court rejected the suit. Still, Voss says it is a problem, something that he wants to see addressed moving forward.
Kent Wayne Scott, thank you.